Hello, 1851 world. Welcome to 2016. Hope you're having a great start to the week. This is the weekly Sizzle. A few things for you this week. One, yesterday I wrote about ugly sweaters. As a kid, I was bullied, so I wore them not out of choice, because my mom would force me into the awkward Rudolph Christmas sweaters, and today all the beautiful people get to wear them and make them look cool. So shame on you, beautiful people, for making me feel so bad when I was a child, because I was actually ahead of the curve, or actually my parents were ahead of the curve. So for some light reading, check out the ugly sweater story from yesterday. You can find it by looking down at our column section. Our focus of this issue is low-cost franchises, and low cost doesn't necessarily mean bad. Low cost means that it could just be a better financial investment for those that don't have enough financial bandwidth to buy a more expensive franchise. So you're looking for a low-cost franchise because your net worth fits into that bucket. You can still find brands that win. Within the article, there's a specific article about finding the right low-cost franchise, which you can find somewhere on our site right now. Steve Biegelman from SMB Franchise Advisors talks about what equals happiness. He says in there that he's not a car guy, and if he was told that you can make all the money in the world by owning a Jiffy Lube, he still wouldn't want to do it because he doesn't have that happiness factor. I've talked about this in the past, of what equals happiness, and the same needs to be true for buying a franchise. I was with a franchisor earlier this week, and we talked about, everybody has different philosophies on what goes into the buying process, but for him, he talked about product. Do I believe in the product? Do I think the profits are attractive enough for me to buy? And is there this pride, or are people proud about the brand? Because when people are really proud of what they have, and you walk into Discovery Day and they're selling it like it's the best thing that they've ever seen, that means they probably believe it, and there's value in that, knowing that the executive team is really committed to the growth of that brand. Pride, you can see that in many brands, even a little bit more of an expensive brand. And some of the columns that Scott Gitrich writes from Topper's Pizza, which you can find that in the columns, you could see the pride that comes out of him. So with all that being said, you cross-apply that back into buying or finding the right low-cost franchise. You're not going to just fall into owning a Mosquito Joe because you believe or have this passion for mosquitoes, but you probably have passion for making the backyard fun again. And that could be something that I could get excited about, and then the profits come with it, and the pride comes with it, and the product is strong enough for me to believe in winning in each of those categories. So if you're in the beginning stages of determining what franchise is right for you, the advice of those that have been featured on our site say, find your equals happiness. Start there, and then put all the brands that could fit into that category, and then narrow it down. You can narrow it down based on their website, their social footprint, potential profitability, what is disclosed in Item 19, the conversation that you have with their franchisees. So start with happiness, and then go through the business process that's going to help you find the right brand for you. So there's a lot of good material on the site these next 2 weeks about low-cost franchises. Another great story, and this is outside of the issue, but Right at Home just celebrated their 500th opening, which you can find that story on the site right now as well. I love this story. Great entrepreneur, great founder, great vision, great team, great franchisees, really slow and methodical growth, not overly aggressive in expectations, and it all comes together, and they hit this significant milestone. A lot of startup brands, I know where you're at right now. You want to have it all, and I get it. You've spent a lot on franchising your business. You want to grow it into this monster brand, but look at the data. Probably a half percent point of franchise brands actually make it over 100 units, let alone 500. Okay, so how did they get there? They probably invested the right amount of capital. They knew when they needed to hire to support or even out the deficiencies of the founder. They made sure that those first franchisees were really good and they put the right support and training behind them. Look at how they've sold and grown, and that's going to help you grow your brand. And lastly, because I think it's always relevant, is franchise sales. We're back in a new year and the expectations are high. Keep them realistic. And I say that with the case studies of the Right at Homes of the world, that be realistic about your growth. When you come out and say, I want to go from having a 20 unit brand to I'm going to have 200 tomorrow, one, you're not going to be able to support it. And when you can't support it, you're going to fail. Then your franchisees are going to be angry. To get 200 units at today's market average of how much it costs to secure a franchise sale at $20,000 on a high end, maybe, especially for more of a startup brand, to 5 to 15, depending who you're asking on a more established brand. There's a lot of funds that go into it. So you have to be willing to invest. If you want explosive growth, then set aside the capital to do so. I was talking with a franchise consultant this week, and he has a client who has high expectations, wants to grow significantly, and I said, well, we got to do the math. If you want to add 100 stores next year, let's say that's going to cost you $1 million. So you're going to invest $1 million into franchise marketing, and in return, let's say each of those franchise fees is worth $30,000. You're going to get $3 million in franchise fees. So there is a nice automatic return on investment, let alone the royalties that will come out of it. If you were going to invest that into a restaurant, you could probably get 2 restaurants open, and let's say each of those did $2 million in the first year, and you took home a 10% net. So you're taking home $400,000 versus $3 million in royalties in that first, or $3 million in franchise fees in that first year. You can start weighing the difference. So really do your mathematical homework on what equals success when it comes to a lead generation standpoint. And lastly, remember, there are no unicorns. Whether you're a client of 1851 or a franchise brand out there, you get what you invest. You get back what you invest or put into it. And that's evident in everything that we do in life, whether it's I want to lose more weight or I want to accomplish X goal. There's no get-rich-quick schemes. There is no tool that will automatically grow your business to X amount of units. You have to put energy and power and strength behind it for something to work. That could be the portals, that could be an ad in a franchise update publication, that could be anything. It's not just set it and forget it in marketing to get deals done. You have to be methodical and thoughtful and mindful about what you're trying to accomplish. So as you get into this year, and this quarter is probably the way that you set your tone, set your expectations clearly. Know that if I'm going to get in front of someone today that could potentially buy my franchise brand, they're at the starting point of becoming a lead. So if I buy an ad in Southwest Magazine tomorrow and it runs next month, sure, there might be some immediate traction that comes out of that because you're getting in front of those who were already ready to buy, but a lot of those could be long leads, so you're not going to be able to connect back the value that you get out of advertising. This is why a little of a lot goes a long way. Whether you're buying a low-cost franchise brand and you're going to be a franchisee, you can't just open up the doors and forget it and make a lot of money. You've got to do a lot of the little things. Whether you're wearing ugly sweaters, it's a lot of the little things. Whether you're doing sales or whether you're right at home trying to climb to 500. The best things in life, not just in business, in life, period, come from doing a lot of the little things right, setting your expectations clearly, celebrating the small milestones, and constantly building. And anybody can do this, whether you're a franchisee or a franchisor or a supplier. Anyone can do this, but try to be realistic about your expectations. I promise you, at the end of the day, that's going to help you on whatever equals your happiness. So thanks for paying attention to me and listening to me ramble again on the Weekly Sizzle. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2016, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care.